Today's guest is a rocket on the rise. She channels Rosie the Riveter's strength, small town sensibilities, and carries on the family lineage of American muscle cars. Not only can she drive, but she can hang with the best of them under the hood. She's a pro wrestler, model, and rock band enthusiast. Ladies and gentlemen, my girl, Amber Nova. But thank you so much for taking the time out to do my podcast.
Oh, of course. Thank you for inviting me.
And look at you. Look at you.
Rosie the Riveter fan over here. So absolutely.
Oh, man. Well, I've been following your career for a little while now, and you've got so many interesting elements to your life that I don't know all the listeners know about. And I really want to dive into the more intimate side of Amber Nova.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the fact that you are an EMT.
Yes, I'm a former EMT in Beaufort, South Carolina, and that's the career job I left behind when I started professional wrestling.
So in Toronto and overseeing the province, we are all trained, all firefighters in the province, to an EMT level, which would let us be like a paramedic basically everywhere else except in this province. For whatever reason, the training is more extensive. So tell me about your time as an EMT. Like I feel like we're universally bonded. Like I'm a firefighter, I am an EMT, you're an EMT, you're Rosie the Riveter fan, I'm Rosie the Riveter fan.
I know. I mean, watching like your impact and your outfits, and I saw like your wrestling gear, so I was like, yeah, I really want to pay, tribute a little. Yes. So basic life support. So for you guys as an EMT, was it basic life support still, or was it advanced life support level?
Basic, and that's why firefighters have that qualification. And then the difference between paramedics, so there's 1 striper and 3 striper, and basically the difference between a basic level paramedic and a firefighter is about 5,000 practical hours that paramedics get that we don't get.
Gotcha. Yeah, kind of similar here. My brother-in-law is a firefighter. He's an EMT as well. I mean, all firefighters are required to have at least that basic life support level.
Yeah.
And then the difference is, the advanced life support, the cardiac monitors, reading that, or the administrative drugs. So I really enjoyed my time being an EMT. I liked helping people, but I always had this wild fantasy of being a pro wrestler.
Interesting. More now than ever, I'm realizing that firefighters and first responders are kind of really becoming intertwined. Just this week, I learned that 3 people I was in WWE developmental with in 2006 are like police officers and SWAT team and firefighters, and I'm a firefighter. And it's just, I wonder if it's the adrenaline rush or it's like wanting to give back to people. Where was the correlation for you that you were like, okay, I love being an EMT, but I want to be a pro wrestler?
I want to say I watched wrestling growing up with my dad. My whole life, I always loved it, but it was always one of those like pipe dreams where you don't think that could happen for you, or you don't think it's possible because I don't know anyone, business, or how will I even get into something like that. So stuck with my career jobs being an EMT, which I really enjoyed, but I would still like go to live events. And then I saw these young women coming up from Orlando at the Performance Center. Yeah. Sasha, Carmella, Bailey. And I'm like, whoa, these chicks are like my age. They're not the size of China. No. I was like, okay, I can do it. So I just went for it.
Good for you. Good for you. Now, how long has it been since that moment? How many years has it been?
I moved to Orlando in May of 2015, started training, didn't have my first match till 2016, about April, so about almost a year later.
Yep.
I had to get my feet on the ground with everything, moving away from all my friends and family. I moved here alone, so it was like a whole new start for me. So almost 7 years since I moved, 6-7 years, but yeah, about 6 years wrestling, I think now.
And now that you are like, you've got your roots planted, do you have a wrestling family that's kind of stepped in since you've left all your family and friends behind?
Yes, I have met such kind-hearted people, really nice girls, really good trainers out there. Lindsay Dorado, he was just recently got his release from WWE.
Yeah,
he helped me from the beginning, and he's a hard trainer, but he He's great. And he's always helped me. He'll take the time to watch my match.
Cool.
And give me pointers. And, I still have people out there that help me.
That's really great. Now, with you, like you're in kind of the mecca, you're in the hub of wrestling. Are you working all the time? Like I know Florida ain't no thing with COVID. Are you staying busy even though the world is kind of in disarray?
Yes. So what a crazy time we live in right now.
Boy, oh boy.
But hey, we're still here, blessed, healthy. Hopefully all, your friends, family, they're good.
Yep.
We've all been through it a bit. But yes, schedule is picking up. I am wrestling out of state. I have been talking to a few companies, possibly in Canada. Not sure though, because I know you guys recently had a shutdown in certain parts. So
we're opening back up now. So fingers crossed.
Opening back up. So yeah, fingers crossed. I do want to come to Canada. I've never wrestled there, and I have been talking to some people, but I know it's still, with crossing the border, getting back in the country, it's a little difficult right now with things. So
that's great news. And please let me know if you come my way, because I'd love to meet in real life.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Good. Now, you have quite the extensive following on social media, and you have beautiful photos. Where did the modeling, how long ago did modeling come into your life?
When I moved here.
Oh, really? Just this was with wrestling?
Yes, I did not model back home. Like I said, I was just an EMT, your regular small town girl. My dad is a mechanic. Classic cars have always been in the family. So I just focused on restoring my classic car, my Chevy Nova, going to work as an EMT. I didn't even have Instagram, barely use social media.
Wow.
I always dreamed of just modeling and pro wrestling. I just knew there was more out there that I had to go for.
Yeah.
So I just went for it, never looked back.
That's incredible. I didn't realize that this growth was really just short. Like we're talking about less than 10 years and you're booming.
Thank you. I'm still climbing that ladder of success. Like I'm still climbing, getting my name out there.
Sure.
Have not signed full-time with a TV company yet, the contract. So I'm looking for, that's my end goal, a full-time TV contract with one of the top wrestling companies.
Yep.
But right now, I've just been getting my name out there. Before the pandemic, I got to wrestle in 3 other countries.
Oh, wow.
London, South Africa, and both Johannesburg and Cape Town. Amazing.
That's so funny. I got to wrestle in South Africa before I was signed anywhere. And that was probably one of the most incredible experiences of my life.
Oh, my gosh. Me too.
Long ass flight, though. I don't want to do that ever again.
That flight was... It was like a good 24 hours to finally make it to Cape Town with layover and getting there. And it was
a lot.
It was worth it.
So thinking about, your time as an EMT, us going through this pandemic where everyone is really looking inward and, doing the work. I know myself, I've really been on this spiritual journey, and a lot has to do with what I see at work, and it has to do with traumas in my life. Is there anything that you do in your life spiritually to keep you grounded during times of chaos?
Oh, yes, I do hot yoga, and I love it. I always remind myself that, the first thing to be grateful for when you wake up is that you're alive.
Yeah.
And if you center yourself and you remind yourself all the gratitude, all the things you have. And then I just love the sweat sesh.
Oh,
and controlling my breathing. It really helps in the ring. So yeah, I love hot yoga.
I just did a hot yoga class for the first time since COVID, because like that was probably the last thing to open, because
you're all close together. Yep.
It's like a breeding ground for bacteria. So
yes.
But now I'm like, I've had all my vaccinations. I've been working in it for 2 years. I still got COVID. Like I'm just, let's do life again. So it was so nice doing hot yoga again. It's such this mind body connection. And you're so right. The breathing, if you can breathe through having sweat in your eyes and your ears and your heart pounding through your chest, then you can remain serene in the hardest things outside of those 4 walls in a yoga studio.
Exactly. And I don't know if it helped because when I was an EMT, like my adrenaline's rushing. I'm trying to focus. I'm just trying to get the job done, stay on target. So you have to stay centered. And then even in the wrestling ring, same thing. Your adrenaline's rushing, you're nervous, you feel everything.
Yeah.
And hot yoga just helps me really just tunnel vision, like focus.
And that's a really good point. Like first responders, we experience so much of adrenaline burnout because it's just a physiological reaction. When those tones go off or you have to deal with somebody on their worst day, you really need something to like bring you back down, reset.
So, yeah. Hot yoga is great.
Yeah. Now, what is your relationship like with the gym for wrestling? Like how many times a week are you in the wrestling gym? Are you lifting? Are you primarily yoga?
So yoga, I like to hit that in at least once a week, depending on my schedule. If not twice, 3 times, depends how many times I can get it in. Gym, I hit the LA Fitness. I do my, your normal workouts on the machines throughout. At least 4 times a week I'm in the gym. Mm-hmm. But then in the ring is where I really get all the soreness.
Yeah.
So I like to be in the ring at least 3-4 times a week. When I first started, my first few years, it was always like 4 or 5 days a week. Wow. I just was trying to go as hard as possible, like cram it all in.
Sure. And are you still training, or are you really just like pushing it, getting in the ring on the indies?
I still train. There's been a lot of, releases, as we know. So, I like to get in the ring and get my time with people. And I don't feel the need to always be like, oh, look who I'm training with, or taking pictures. Or there's some people don't want to be out there. Right. So I just don't always promote it as much as when I first started training, and I was at other schools and I'd hop around. And now, I just train with some people that, hey, you want to get together? Let's get in the ring and train. Like, yeah.
Cool. So as, relatively a tomboy, I would say, growing up in a small town, EMT, which is like very bro-ish. It's very like a male, like hockey locker room kind of thing.
Yes.
Did you develop?
Us girls know. So probably getting into the wrestling locker room was like not that much different than firefighters. Absolutely not.
Girls are different in the sense that everything is very emotional. With men, I would say it's not. They're just, you get what you see. They're very simple. They say what they mean, and there's no read between the lines. That's the biggest difference. But I love men and women equally. But I will say there is a little bit of a simplicity working primarily with men.
Yes.
But did you develop any nicknames over the years?
They just called me Nova, or Nova Girl. Nova. When I was in EMT, I had my old Nova. I have 2. I had 2. But my old Nova that I'd go to work in, they'd just be like, oh, yeah, Nova, what's up, Nova Girl? Like, that was just like a cute little nickname.
Oh.
So when I started wrestling, I was like, yeah, I'm Amber Nova.
It was already born for you. I love that.
Yeah, it just worked out.
Is there anyone that you draw inspiration for your character outside of wrestling? Anyone like music, actors, fashion?
Yes, I'm actually looking at your backdrop behind me. I'm behind you, and it reminds me of Supernatural.
Yes.
I was a big fan of the series. I actually just finally watched the very last season 15 not too long ago.
Right.
And I first got into that show because I saw the black 67 Chevy Impala, and then these 2 cute guys. I'm like, classic car, cute guys, leather jackets, like cute. I'm gonna watch this, give it a go. And I fell in love with it because I grew up on classic tunes, classic cars.
Yeah.
So a lot of character traits I channeled, or I would find in common was Dean, Jensen Ackles' character on the show.
Okay.
So that would be one. I grew up loving like Avril Lavigne, very punk.
Oh, cute.
Like stand up for herself kind of girl. Don't let boys walk over you. Don't let boys be mean to you. So like Avril Lavigne was an inspiration growing up. So like that's the actor, that's a musician. Rosie the Riveter, of course, always women empowerment. We can do it. Dad being a mechanic. So that's, to name a few, those are some people that always inspired me.
Well, that's a great answer. Now, being that you are mechanically inclined and, it's very much associated with who you are and your character, do you find that men challenge your knowledge on cars?
I'm going to say, okay, so, I get this a lot, like at the gas station, wherever, oh, that's your boyfriend's car, that's whatever. I'm like, nope, I'm driving it. It's my car. There's always a nicer way to ask. They could just ask, oh, is that yours?
Of
Yes, it is
course.
mine. Not assume, oh, that's your boyfriend or something. So I get that often. But trying to think. I like to do car shows.
Okay.
Uh, Recently, I won first place out of top three best classic car show recently. And the trophy,
Oh.
I don't have it on me right now. Really cute pistons on it. And it's a heavy, nice trophy. That was really important to me winning. They were very impressed with my engine, the motor, and all. But I have had guys question me sometimes. And then they're like, oh, okay, she does know a little something. They'll try and like be smart. I usually know more than them.
Of course you do. Of course you do, because you've been living for that moment your whole life. You're like, I dare you to question me on my car knowledge.
That's right. Come on.
So, being that you grew up with wrestling in your house, how do your parents, or do you have siblings and your friends, everyone back home, how do they feel about you becoming a professional wrestler?
Everyone back home is so proud. When I first told my dad smiled, started laughing. He's like, yeah, right. But he was everybody was supportive.
Yeah.
My mom just didn't want me to get hurt. You know how moms are.
Of course.
And didn't want me moving away from home. I'm like, it's not that far. It's a couple states. I'll come and visit. And my dad, he was like, well, you better do it now. He's like, just go for it. So I did. And I think I moved here, I was 23.
Oh, wow.
A few years ago.
Okay. So if you could design your dream match, who would it be against and where would it be?
Oh, dream match, dream opponents. I mean, I grew up watching, Medusa, Eddie Guerrero. I mean, Natalia is amazing.
Yeah.
There's just so many options of just the women, even now, like Charlotte.
Yeah.
Really just what they've done to change women's wrestling in just the last, 7 years?
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing. Dream matches? I don't know, those would to name a few opponents. Just an opportunity to step in the ring with just like a few that I named.
That's cool.
That'd be a dream.
What about a dream venue? Is there anywhere that you like? When I think of dream venues, I think hometown. If I could do it at the ACC or the Sky Dome in Toronto, those are where I saw all the big sporting events. And when I was a kid, that's like where I saw Disney on Ice and silly things like that. But even to this day, I would still love to do a major venue in Toronto because they never come to the city. It's always on the outskirts. For like Impact and TNA formerly. But do you have a dream venue that you haven't been to or that you have been to that you'd like to do on a big scale?
You took the words like right out of my mouth. I can't agree more. So growing up, if I ever wanted to see a wrestling match, my dad would take me and my siblings to the Savannah Civic Center.
Okay.
Because I'm right from Beaufort, Hilton Head Island.
Yeah.
So it's on the very bottom of South Carolina, and then Savannah, Georgia is right on that border. And that was the closest area to ever watch wrestling, which wasn't that far. It was like 40 minutes over the border. So Savannah Civic Center. And I say that instead of like a Madison Square Garden, where I mean, it's, iconic, the history there. But I say that because I used to go there as a little girl to watch these guys that, I've now gotten to be a coworker with and meet for the first time as a coworker and be wrestling for the same companies. And mainly just so all my friends and family, anyone still back home, could see me wrestle hometown area.
For sure.
Because where I'm from, there's no like big arenas, like Orlando, or Tampa, you got all these big arenas, Miami. But where I'm from, you just had the Savannah Civic Center, and that's the closest you were going to get to something big as an arena. So yeah, I would say hometown too.
I like it. Manifest. It's going to happen. Now, since you've been in Florida, and that's primarily where you've probably worked the most wrestling-wise, have you been recognized outside of a wrestling venue, kind of where you live right now?
Yes. So I do live in Orlando, so lots of wrestling. So often I do get recognized, or maybe someone sees me driving down the road in my orange Nova and like at the gas station. It's really fun. It's really cool. I love meeting people that are like, hey, I've been watching you. I've seen you on AEW recently or wherever. Oh, I watched you like at your NXT match. And I love it. And, Heart of Wrestling, there's like so much wrestling opportunity here in Orlando. There was
Yeah.
Impact did their tapings at Universal.
Yep.
I got the Performance Center, you had Full Sail. Now AEW Dark and Elevation does tapings at Universal. So there's a lot of opportunity.
Oh, that's great. What's the craziest fan interaction you've had to date?
I've had some odd ones.
Yep. Do tell.
I had someone message me on social media a picture of my car and license plate. And they were like, we saw you driving. So I mean, my Nova is my daily driver, and I love it. And
Yep.
it's not meant to sit in the garage and just get dusty.
No.
Right? I love going for a drive. So that worried me a little.
Sure.
But I'm safe. I'm in a gated community. There's, but yeah, I'm like, okay, that's not the best way to be like, hey, I saw you driving. Here's your license plate. I'm like,
Just like a hey would have been cool.
yeah. I think that was a little like,
Yeah.
I mean,
gotta
we all
say-
have those stories of meeting
Oh, yeah.
out there fans that they don't know that they're coming across that way, but
Bless our fans, because with no fans, there would be no show. But I think the biggest difference with our fans, our wrestling fans, are fanatical. It's not like you're die hard. So,
and I love that about my gearheads out there. Anyone that tunes in to watch us later, my gearheads, they'll talk cars with me. They'll, I love it. And I just want to say thank you to all of them right now, because without them, I wouldn't have made it as far as I have.
Mhm.
And I'm, still got that drive in me. So I'm going to keep on shifting gears and
stay
tuned where you'll see me next.
Look at all the car puns. Go, girl.
That's it. That's all me. I love like car puns. I like 80s style. I'm all that.
Oh, so would you say that 80s music is like that whole generation, fashion, like imagery, media, is that your go-to?
Maybe not all the fashion in the 80s.
You don't like shoulder pads?
I guess on a nice blazer, they look okay.
Sure.
But yes, 80s all the way. Bruce Springsteen, The Boss. You got Def Leppard, Billy Squier, Tom Petty. Those are my guys. I love them all.
I feel like that's real, like car adjacent, like working in the shop music, and that 80s era is very reminiscent of that. Like you got your grease rag hanging out of your Levi's. I like it. I mean, I think you're really going to be your own icon in your own vein. Like, I'm asking you who you draw inspiration from, but really you're kind of a phenomenon when it comes to women's wrestling, because you are coming in just as you, but who you are feels very true to who I am. You're equal parts masculine as you are feminine. And it's not that you're trying to fit in either one of those worlds. You just are 50-50 those worlds. And I'm sure there's a lot of little girls out there that are like, me too. And it's okay. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Amber Nova is not just some made up character. That's my real identity. I am the daughter of a mechanic. I want to break the stigma with women and cars, or just being an EMT, how females can be perceived or treated. Sure. And so I'm breaking that stigma with women in American, the muscle cars. You don't see a girl with high heels step out of the car and then find out she can even change her own oil, and she even can work on the car and knows all her basic maintenance of the car she drives. And then being a former EMT, how them firefighters can be.
Oh, girl.
They like to bust your chops.
Day in, day out.
You have to be tough. You have to have thick skin. And even in the wrestling business, it's like that for women as well. And like I mentioned, those women like Sasha, Charlotte Flair, like Medusa, everyone that helped break down those stigmas and barriers. So I really appreciate that's a nice compliment.
Oh, truly. But you really hit something there, that you can step out of your muscle car in a pencil skirt and high heels, and that in itself shouldn't prod questions.
No.
Like, just like if I show up to work out of uniform in a dress and high heels, and then I put my uniform, I have all the same qualifications everybody else does in that fire hall. And I shouldn't be questioned just because I'm being who I am. I'm a woman, but I just so happen to excel in things that are historically male. And that's what you're bringing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Totally agree. I
we
know
are
exactly where
women.
you're coming from.
Yeah, we're blue collar women, really. That's what it
There you
is.
go. Yep. It's that stereotype. People aren't used to seeing it. It's so rare. So, I see these little girls and, maybe I sign a grease rag for them or give them a little wrench pen, something that's like more of your manly stuff, but just inspiration, I think.
Yeah, I agree. So one thing I really like to touch on when I'm getting to know, or I'm getting our listening audience to know about female wrestlers and their intimate side, is there something about you that maybe our listeners can't find on the internet that you'd like them to know, or maybe change any misconceptions that you think are about you out there?
Let's see. Things that they don't know.
It doesn't have to be like, I don't mean like secrets, but like when you put Amber Nova in a search engine, you're going to find your name, your height, where you reside, where you grew up, how many matches you've had, anything about you as a person that you'd like the world to know that maybe they couldn't find from Google.
I don't know. I'm trying to think. I don't know. I'm really adventurous, but I think that's a given. Like, I've been skydiving before, but I want to go skydiving again. Yet I'm terrified of heights.
Really?
I was so scared, but I still did it because it was always something I wanted to do, was go skydiving. I was terrified, but I still did it.
Good for you.
Yeah, I grew up like I was a tomboy. I like to ride dirt bikes and four-wheelers, but then I like to throw on a dress and always, I've always like Victoria's Secret models. I always said if I was taller, just a little bit, I'd be a Victoria's Secret model making really good money. But I always had a heart for wrestling, and I still do. I'm trying to think like things that they wouldn't know about me.
Sure, yeah.
I am like, I come across like I always want to be that like tough, mechanic girl, but I am very feminine. So I think you nailed all those key points.
Okay, that's good. Okay, well, what about just day to day? Are you a night person? Are you a morning person?
I think I'm a night person.
Are you?
And I don't know if that's because, running ragged as an EMT, I'd work those 24-hour shifts, wouldn't sleep all night, or then our schedule was always messed up.
Yeah.
Or then the fact that like when I moved to Orlando, I couldn't be an EMT and work 24-hour shifts, making $12, $11 an hour, and then pay my rent, everything on my own in the city. So I started bartending at Disney. And so then I was already a late night person now again, because I'm bartending at night. And at Disney, you don't go to bed till 2, 3, 4 in the morning sometimes. So I think I'm a night person, I guess.
So by scheduling.
I love to wake up. Yeah, I like to wake up, have a cup of coffee, and chat with my girlfriend. Lives right next door to me.
Oh.
And we're both, very power driven, single.
Yeah. Still
finding our way in life. So her being right next door to me, we have like connected townhomes. Oh. We're always there for each other, and so I don't know. Maybe that's something people.
That's really nice. So you basically have a best girl that is steps away.
Yeah, and she's not in wrestling, didn't even watch it, but she's so inspired with me and proud of me because she knew me when I first moved here and I was just starting, and told her, hey, I'm going to pursue professional wrestling. And then she's seen my career grow all these years that we've been next door. So, and
that's really nice.
It's really good to have a good support system. I always believe that.
I feel like that's divine intervention. Like you came here with nobody and then you ended up having a best friend next door.
Her Florida sister.
Oh, I love it. Okay, well, I don't want to keep you. I know you're on a tight schedule, but I like to end every podcast with my 10 tailor-made questions. It's like a little bit of a speed round, but don't feel rushed on your answers.
Okay.
Ready?
Yes.
Okay. Name one beauty product you cannot live without.
Lipstick.
Any color or just lipstick, period?
I like wine, anything wine or natural.
Nice.
But when I leave the house, I'm that girl every day. I have to put a little lip liner, chapstick, little lipstick, not so bright, but if I have no makeup on, you just throw a lip liner on, it looks like your whole face has makeup on.
Okay.
So I guess lip liner, lipstick, I have to have.
I like it. What is your favorite exercise?
Hot yoga.
Yeah.
Or in-ring cardio. Love to just grapple.
Yeah.
Just grapple on the mat. Just try and pin each other. Try and submit each other. I love doing that.
There's male listeners right now thinking like, woo!
Okay, guys, I mean professional stuff, come on.
Sorry, that's the firefighter in me.
Yeah, I get that. I totally get it. Oh, man.
What is your biggest pet peeve?
Pet peeve. My biggest pet peeve is and considerate people that do the kindness, the simplest things in life, like saying thank you, treating your waiter with respect, little things like that.
Do to others the way you would like to be
yes.
treated. Yeah. It is, what is your favorite band or artist? But I think we've covered that in quite detail already, unless there's anyone you'd like to throw in there.
My favorite song is actually my ringtone whenever my phone rings is Carry On Your Wayward Son by Kansas. I've loved it since I was a little girl. I remember moving from New Jersey, where I was born, and that's where my parents are from. Moving from New Jersey, I was in the moving truck with my dad, and that song came on late at night. We're on the highway, and I just loved it and never looked back.
Beautiful nostalgia.
Yes, yes.
And who is your celebrity crush?
Oh.
This
is something maybe the listeners would absolutely love, but might get me in trouble. I'm like,
please.
Okay, celebrity crush, Jensen Ackles, which is why I always fell in love with his character, because I always felt like that's where I want to channel as that badass mechanic girl in the ring.
Sure.
Where outside of life, I'm not always so badass. I'm a little more feminine, but in the ring, I'm like, no, I'm, ready to go. So, yeah. Anyways, Jensen Ackles, I guess. Celebrity crush. That's out of the bag. I guess that was one that I would be shy to tell people.
No, don't. Do you have a secret vice, like drinking a glass of wine in the shower?
Yes. For me, I guess it would be a Yingling. I like beer. I like wine, but I'm a whiskey girl.
Of course you are. You're such a badass.
I'm a whiskey girl. I cannot do vodka. I cannot do tequila that much.
Yep. You're such a class act. I love it.
Thank you. I like a good old fashioned, and I make great mojitos because my bartending certification.
Right.
I make bitchin' mojitos, old fashions. So I could stir some cocktails.
God, you're beyond a triple threat. You're like...
I'm a Jill Jack of all trades, baby.
That a girl. That's what makes you more marketable. Just keep taking all the skills in.
Thank you.
What wrestler has the best entrance music?
Ooh. That's a tough one. Love rock and roll. Mm-hmm. Love my classic rock. I'm actually trying to work on my own entrance music. I want the car engine to rev up and headlights to click on.
Oh, I love that.
Thank you. I love anything classic rock and roll. But you know what gets me going? Like women empowerment? Bianca Belair. I'm on my own.
Yes.
I just love her. I love her.
So, I do too. And that's
one that has to come to my mind. Oh yeah, and it sticks. It just every time her song comes on, I'm like, I gotta dance. I gotta go. So that's one that always gets me going. I just love it. Don't get me wrong, Shawn Michaels.
Sure.
And, you got your iconic history makers too, but a recent one's always in my head. I love hers.
I love that. And I was going to say, what is your drink of choice? Again, I think we
nailed that. Check.
What has been your most embarrassing moment in the ring? And we have heard it all, from wardrobe malfunctions to botches to bodily fluid issues to anything.
Us females, it's a little harder than guys when it comes to that time of the month. And so that's difficult. But I know I've done my entrance where I jump over the top rope and I do a 3/4 roll in. I know I jumped over once. I think it was a battle royal and there was other girls. And when I went to jump in, the girl was there and I didn't want to stomp on her head. So I fell and tried to recover. I guess you're like, you're a wrestler. Why do you care you're stomping on her head? And I'm like, I guess I just felt bad. I didn't want to, and I think
it's etiquette.
I think about, I was an EMT and, protecting our neck and she's fine. And the last thing I would do is hurt this girl's neck. So I fell and it was whatever. I just got up and played it off. I know that's happened before.
Yeah.
Gosh, we've all had a couple botches or slip ups or just what was I thinking? Just that's what comes to mind now.
That's cool. Yep. No. And sometimes, people can be 10, 15 years into their careers and they've not had anything that was traumatically embarrassing. And, I've been asking this question for 3 seasons and I've had quite a few of my girlfriends, my brothers on this show, and they've turned it around on me and they say, well, what's been your most embarrassing moment? And I'm not one to really get embarrassed. and I couldn't remember anything that basically stuck out to me. And then I'm not kidding, like a few wrestling training sessions later, I had these fake Gymshark knockoffs from Amazon, and I was chain wrestling, and I basically ripped my tights kind of like navel to rear hole, and I was
oh
like,
my gosh,
yeah, again, still wasn't embarrassed.
hey, ripped your pants, whatever, right? I mean, that happens often in the ring in some training clothes, I think. Yeah,
exactly. Just girls wear underwear, that's all. Just always make sure you have underwear on. Anyways,
pantyhose. Yep. Pantyhose too.
Pantyhose helps too. Yeah.
Yes.
Where can our listeners find you on the interwebs?
Yes, follow me on my social media. It's Amber Nova 73 because I drive a Chevy 73 Nova. Not because I was born in 73. I get that question often. So follow me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Amber Nova 73. And you can also look up YouTube matches if you're not familiar with me. Amber Nova. So.
Beautiful. Okay, last question. Finish this lyric. Carry on my wayward son.
There'll be peace when you are done.
Yes, for bad singing. Yay!
I love it. I'm not the best singer unless I'm like really trying, but I love it. Thank you.
Oh, thank you
That's so fun.
much.
No one's ever done that.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
Well, just like you with the skydiving, I have this I used to have this terrible fear of singing because I'm terrible at it. And now I love it. I'm excited for that last bit of the show where I get to sing badly.
I love drinking and karaoke with my friends. Rock band. I can play drums. I can do guitar medium to hard. And I love doing guitar. I like rock band because it's a whole other karaoke. You get to really, play the tunes. And
Yeah. I'm with you.
That's probably something my fans don't know about me. I love to rock band. I like to play guitar and sing and do karaoke and drink my butt off. And that's a good time. That's a fun night for me.
There it is. There it is right there.
Yeah.
That's what you wanted to hear.
I haven't done it in so long. And I do that for my mom and my dad. They'll jump on drums. They'll take a shot and we'll play rock band. That's what we do when we get family get-togethers. Haven't done that in so long.
I love that. I actually used to do that with my sister when I was on the road full time with TNA. When I would get off the road, everyone was in university or they were working. And my sister is 5 years younger, so she was just in high school. So that's what we would do. We would do rock band. We had the guitar. We had the microphone.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I got to medium hard. I probably would need a good practice sesh again. But I will battle you if we ever get to cross paths.
Oh my gosh, I'd love that. That would be so fun. That would be fun.
Well, this was delightful. I really hope I get to meet you in person soon.
I would love that.